Hi everyone, it's Mr. Baker here with another physics video. Today we're going to be looking at electric circuits. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at electric circuits. So first off, I would like you to see if you can name these circuit symbols. So you might want to just pause the video there and see if you can do that. Okay, did you have a go? Well, maybe I can give you some clues. Okay, so this is what this thing is. Yeah, you got it. It's a switch. How about this one then? Right, so this one is actually a cell, and this one is actually a battery. So we tend to call the top one that we looked at a battery in sort of normal everyday life, don't we? So we would call one of these cells a battery, but actually one of them by themselves we would call a cell in physics, and a group of them together we would call a battery. So more than one cell makes up a battery of cells. In the same way you might get battery chickens or a battery of guns, where you've got more than one of them, we have a battery of them. It's just a few of them together. How about this next one? Well, it doesn't really give much away. This is actually something called a diode, which we'll look at in future lessons. The next one, yeah, this is a lamp. So this one, you might get it now from the picture. You might have seen one of those. That's actually called a fuse. I imagine you've probably got this one. This one's a voltmeter, and this one's an ammeter. Now, what people tend to get wrong sometimes is they tend to spell this wrong. It's not an amp meter, although we are measuring amps with it. It's an ammeter. This next one, again, probably doesn't give much away. This one is called a thermistor. It's a thermal resistor. It's a resistor that changes with temperature, and so we call it a thermistor. And so if that's a resistor that changes with temperature, then this next one is just a resistor. Okay, so we've got a similar symbol again. We've got this rectangle, which is a resistor, and this time it's got an arrow through it. So it's a resistor, but it's a specific resistor. It's a variable resistor. So it's a resistor that we can change, basically. So we know now that this one is a diode, but it's got some little arrows pointing off it. Those arrows represent light. So when the arrows are pointing away, that means that they're emitting light. And so this is a light emitting diode, an LED. And then this next one, we've got two arrows pointing towards something that it looks like a resistor with a circle around it. So it's something that changes with light. It's a light dependent resistor, an LDR, a resistor that changes with the amount of light that falls on it. Okay, so these circuit symbols are ones that you've got to learn. You've got to be able to name them. You've got to be able to draw circuit diagrams using them, and you've got to be able to take circuit diagrams and turn them into actual circuits, so you can do some practicals with them as well. Okay, so what's the difference between these circuits here? We've got two different types of circuit. We've got series circuits and we've got parallel circuits. You might have seen these before. So let's see if we can describe what the difference is between them. We can see the difference there, but how can we describe what the difference between a series and a parallel circuit is? So in a series circuit, there's only one path around that circuit. If one bulb in this circuit breaks, then they would all go out. They would stop the electricity from flowing if one of those bulbs broke. More bulbs added, and each of them would be dimmer. And if you added a switch in that circuit, it would control all the bulbs together. If you switch the switch on, all of them would turn on. If you switch the switch off, all of them would turn off. Okay, how about parallel circuit? So in a parallel circuit, there are more than one paths around the circuit. We normally call them branches of the wires that the electric current can flow down. If one bulb breaks, then the others would stay on as long as they're on different branches. If you add more bulbs, then each of the bulbs would be the same brightness. And if you put switches on the different branches, you could control the bulbs individually. So we saw a couple of components when we looked at all the list of the different ones. We looked at ammeters and voltmeters. And here we've got an ammeter and a voltmeter in a circuit that is trying to measure the resistance of a piece of wire. And that's something that you'll look at in a future lesson. But where do we put ammeters and voltmeters? How do they work? Current is measured with an ammeter. And an ammeter is always placed in series with the component you're measuring. So here we're trying to measure the electric current through that piece of wire. And so we've got to place it in series with that piece of wire. The potential difference is measured with a voltmeter. And a voltmeter always goes in parallel with the component you're measuring, and that's because of the way that it's measuring the voltage. What it's basically doing is it's looking at the amount of energy that each of the charges have got before the component, and it's looking at the amount of energy each charge has got after they've gone through the component as well, and then it's comparing those. Right, this is something for you to do then. So have a look at circuit A, B and C. What I'd like you to do is to pause the video, and I'd like you to answer, are these circuits the same as circuit A, B or C, and which one is the odd one out? Okay, so pause it there and have a go at that. Okay, did you do that? Did you pause it? Did you have a go at that? Let's have a look. So, first one is like circuit B. It's a parallel circuit just like that one. The next one is like circuit A. It's just that the bulbs aren't in exactly the same places. The next one again, that's like a series circuit. It's just drawn a bit differently. The next one, although that looks completely different, it's actually a parallel circuit. We've just got an extra wire in there. It's actually just a parallel circuit with the power supply in parallel with those different it's just a parallel circuit with the bulbs in parallel with the it's just a parallel circuit with the bulbs in parallel. It's just a parallel circuit with the lamps in parallel with the power supply. The next one, right, so that one is like circuit C. You can see there's a lamp next to the power supply, and then we've got two others in parallel with that. And that's the same as the next one, just drawn slightly differently again. The next one is like circuit B. That's a circuit that's in parallel, all the bulbs are in parallel with each other. The next one again, if you just change the way that you've drawn that, it looks like circuit C, as does the next one. So this next one is the odd one out. What we've got here is we've got two lamps that are in series with each other, in parallel with the power supply, which is in parallel with another lamp by itself, and that's not in any of those circuits A, B or C. And in the last one, that's just a squiggly line drawing of circuit A. So how did you do on that one? Hopefully you did all right. Okay, so today what we've looked at is we've looked at identifying circuit components from their symbols, and we've also looked at drawing and interpreting simple circuit diagrams. Okay, so that's the lesson over on circuits, and that's been another physics video. I've been Miss Baker, and I will see you next time.